Hello and welcome back to Alpha Tauri. We've got a Spanish Grand Prix for you today. No changes to speak of, but I thought I'd just go over the upcoming schedule to kind of show you what we might be excited about over the next few races. Now, the race after this is Canada, which will see 3 upgrades arrive just before it. Admittedly, because of the cost cap situation this year and the insane pricing of development pieces this year round, we're not going to see any of them probably for Canada. We might get, I'm pretty certain a chassis takes 7 days, so I'm not even sure we'd even get one of them done in time. I can't remember how long suspensions take, but I can't imagine an underfloor takes 0 days. We may not even have the underfloor ready by Britain, quite frankly. The front wing following Canada, though, is the fun one because they don't take as long to manufacture, so we could have enough of those for Austria to put on both cars. We'll certainly have enough of those for Great Britain. And that's the first beast I've used with the new approach to car part development. So that's the one where we probably see a more significant bump just from that one piece alone. The combination of these three will probably have a collective notable impact, but because they've not been specialised, we're not going to see a notable jump forward in any particular area. However, pain will continue with Spain, as this time round, we try manual qualifying rather than 2-lap qualifying. In case you're wondering, by the way, why I'm sat on 17 million is because I'm holding that money for when the facilities degrade to the point where I want to actually then build upon those facilities rather than refurbish them, bring them up a level rather than just bring them back. So I'm trying to preempt facility wear by sticking in the upgrade just in time to arrive before it would have gone down a notch. That's what I'm aiming to do with basically everything. So that's why I'm sat on the money. Also, in case I need to, cancel someone's contract to get them in. The plan's still going ahead. I just couldn't do anything in the 4 days before Spain on that front. So we still got Nick de Vries for Spain. We'll see if he's still there for Canada. But anyway, qualifying. See you in a moment. So the news from practice is that Spain is a surprisingly attractive track, shall we say. Not a huge amount of incidents, but the incidents that did happen resulted in retirements. And probably these penalties to Hulkenberg and Albon. We had at least one person retire from all 3 sessions. Yuki and Nick got through those unscathed, which makes me a little bit more panicked. They won't the actual important bits. But 13-14 in formation, kind of as I expected. No issues though. So just a heads up, I am actually using what are technically their worst available race viable parts. Because I know we don't have the best car, we haven't got the big upgrades yet, and I figure, this could be the one to give Nick de Vries a round of new car parts as a whole, but I feel like we can still hold off a little bit with Nick de Vries. Apart from the RS, it's kind of like one of those situations where if they don't qualify well to begin with, then we just do it after qualification rather than for qualification. So say if he qualifies 19th here, then we'll probably do it anyway because there's no real harm in doing so. Because we need to do that at some point, so we might as well get it out of the way now. And we'd actually have to put those car parts on in that situation because otherwise you don't take the penalties there and then, as I discovered last year. So what we're going to do here is we're going to utilise the 2 flying lap no cooldown to set their confidence nice and high to start with. Because there is a version of this manual situation where you send them out for a bunch of laps to start with, particularly in Q1 where you've got plenty of time. You send them out for consecutive laps, flying laps, where you do the flying lap on conserve, then you do the flying lap on reserve, the next step up, and then you do a third flying lap, or the in lap, on kind of neutral levels of speed, the standard levels, the yellow levels, so that each lap you're doing personal best and you sort of cheese your confidence levels that way. So you do a lap on conserve, it's still your fastest lap, so your confidence goes up. You do a lap on the next stage up, which I can't show you right now, but the blue level, you do personal best because you've gone faster in all 3 sectors because you've been pushing a little bit harder than you were the last time round, so your confidence goes up again. And then you do your in lap on standard, so your confidence goes up in the 2 sectors that you actually do before you pit. So you pit on peak, essentially. And what happened last time here is that doing this 2 flying lap strategy still got them onto that peak threshold, kinda. So it feels like the middle ground in that I don't want to cheese the game too hard, but this kind of feels like the natural level of optimizing that. And then on the final run at the end, we'll do it on manual control so that we actually get the 1 lap tyres up to temperature before we actually cross that line. So theoretically, right now, his tyres are freezing. So that's the first lap in. It is a second slower than the Aston Martins, which is actually better than I was anticipating. We're on board with Yuki Tsunoda, who's now done his first flying lap. He's on a purple first sector now. presumably because his confidence is up and his tyres are warm. Nick's on a faster first sector as well. I know I'm essentially repeating what we did last time, but I kind of want to talk you through these a little bit more. And he might actually be better off than he did last time as well, because he's only got held up on that one Aston Martin, whereas he got held up on a bunch of things on his second flying lap in Monaco. He has done a slower middle sector, however, so I do wonder if there is an ERS issue on the second lap, because even though theoretically they should only use 50% ERS on a push lap anyway to begin with. We'll see how they get on through the third sector and whether or not they improve their time at all. Yuki Tsunoda goes 5/10 faster. De Vries goes even faster. That was a huge gain. So you see when they don't get hindered, that was 5/10 faster, presumably because of being on soft rubber and the confidence boost. Not soft rubber, warm rubber. So that feels like the technical way to actually optimize your laps. I'm not even certain if I need to run again. Gasly's done an insane time. Kind of waiting for the Haas's to do their laps because they kind of feel like the comparison team right now. Magnussen has gone slower. We're full second faster than Sargent. I feel like we're okay here. I'm going to send them out for one singular lap. Now, of course, you don't actually need to send them out quite as late. It's a 1:13 lap here, so I'll probably give them about 2 minutes apiece, because bear in mind they're going to push on their lap. Oh, hang on. I haven't actually set their lap for one lap here. Okay, so changing the tyres allowed us to actually get Tsunoda and De Vries out here. Now, you might think we've pushed that a little bit too late there, but if you take manual control and actually push the tyres on the outlap, you'll find out they do effectively regular lap time, so we should get round. Okay, so Tsunoda is in the final bend, so we set him on to deploy. De Vries is now in that final bend, so we set him now to deploy. But you can see, essentially, over a full lap, on attack, the tyres are only just got warm. I think we are fine, but I kind of want to see what lap time they do, just for the sake of understanding it. We'll go in visor cam, and they got across the line with 20 seconds to spare, even though they only left with like 1 minute 40 to go, 1 minute 50 to go. So everyone else is going to be on an in-lap here, I imagine, which could be problematic. So they have done slower first sectors. But I'm intrigued to see how they compare. Bear in mind that he is on very high confidence right now. I actually think the car in front is actually on a flying lap, but there's a Merc that isn't. Now Yuki is definitely going to catch on this straight, or corner, and go through, it seems. De Vries is going to catch that Merc in an even more awkward spot, but Yuki did a better middle sector. Now, his original middle sector on his best lap wasn't as good as his original lap, so maybe there was a problem there on his flyer, the Alonso blockage, for instance. Yuki goes even faster, not by much, but Yuki goes even faster. And De Vries goes even faster again. Interesting. Now, that might be part confidence as well, but from doing 2 consecutive better laps. But both drivers through to Q2 for the first time, I think. And most importantly there, De Vries, never mind, Albon goes 10th. Albon does have a penalty though. So that feels like the optimum way to do qualifying. You've just got to cheese the system, really. Now, the one issue there that you didn't actually really see, because I didn't talk over it, was doing 2 laps and then returning to 1 lap. I couldn't actually send the cars out, so I had to swap the tyre. So I think in order to go to 1 lap, you need to put a different tyre on originally and then put on the tyre you actually want. So you kind of have to do it twice, otherwise the game won't let you do it for some reason. I think it's a fuel issue. But we're going to do 2 flying laps on the used tyre that we just did the attack lap on. And we'll have enough time to do this. Try and get the most out of our drivers here. Get their confidence up to do their flying lap at the end. Bear in mind, of course, they're on used tyres right now. So superb first flying lap, 1:15.2 for both. Yuki goes even better second time around. De Vries, I think, had a little bit more traffic issue and has now just decided to go off the track. This is an in-lap, just to point that out. Apparently not, but it's an in-lap, so it matters absolutely not one jot, and it hasn't obviously broken the car. Now, see, I'm going to show you what the situation here is. If I put on that tyre and tell them to go onto 1 lap, I suppose you could always just... But in changing the tyre, you still can't send them out. So now if I switch the tyre to the correct tyre that I actually want to use for this end of session, we're fine. I suppose technically you could just originally put them on the same tyre with 1 lap and then put them on the correct tyre, so you don't need to change, but I imagine that would work the same way. Yuki is sick. I mean, they use used tyres, don't get me wrong, but so did we. And I know that we only need like 2 minutes to do this because we just need to go aggressive. If anything, actually, we need to go effectively as late as possible because in attacking the tyres, you go a lot faster than the other drivers who are on out laps. Could we see a Q3 appearance here? I'm going to send Tsunoda now, De Vries behind him. Take manual control, go attack. Manual control, go attack. So basically just watch our dots on this minimap as they do their out lap. Yuki's just pelting it towards Stroll right now. I'm actually slightly concerned he'll catch Stroll, but Stroll might actually start speeding up on this final bend. So we might be all right on that front. Now deploy there, unless he was on the flyer anyway, I don't really know. So I'm board with Yuki for a flying lap here on the main straight. He's got Lance Stroll ahead of him, which I don't know if is a help or a hindrance at this stage, because Yuki could genuinely be faster than him because of the way we've optimized this. Just checking he was on deploy there, that could have been hilariously bad. Purple sector 1, which could also be in part because they obviously aren't pushing out the final corner as hard as they should be, the AI-controlled cars. But Yuki's genuinely done a purple sector 1. It's the same issue in Bahrain, really, because of there being an amount of straight to actually have built up speed on before you hit the checkered line. But he's also pulling nice a bit of DRS, probably. Not DRS, but you know what I mean. Slipstream from the Aston ahead. De Vries has no such... I'm about to say De Vries has no such toe, but there is someone ahead of him. An Alpine, which actually might be holding him up, if anything. I think it's Ocon. Yuki is 7th. Stroll goes faster, but Yuki remains 8th. De Vries probably should switch over to him to cross the line. Takes the checker flag 12th. It's still 12th for De Vries. That's not bad. George Russell and Ocon might actually be fighting. Oh, Gasly. Nope, they're actually going in. Russell is out. Albon got through in 9th, which is a little bit concerning because we don't want them to get points either. But this is the longest I've gone into a video, still in a qualifying session. Welcome to Q3, folks. Albon has a penalty, I forgot about that. So realistically, we don't have a lot of time. I'm actually going to put Yuki out on multi-use ones because I kind of want to keep all sets of softs relatively fresh. So I'm actually going to send him out on those softs and just do a regular normal flying lap. I'm not going to do 2 laps and come in. There's not really the time for that. We'll send him out first, but we are going to do the same push thing. I think it obviously uses more tyres than it would do normally. 15.2 isn't terrible, but it wasn't 15.2, that's why. 15.5. I mean, even if we start 10th, that's better than usual. Ideally, I would like to be within 3 places of Hulkenberg, because then we'll benefit from Hulkenberg's penalty, no matter what that penalty is. I'm going to send Yuki out now, because I think he'll get past Verstappen and Alonso if we get him to go aggressive, or at least catch them. Didn't optimize that too well there, caught him a little bit too late. We are getting a lovely toe off the Red Bull, I imagine, but he has done a faster first sector at least. I was a little bit too late on the fuel push and the ERS push, so I'm not sure he took that last corner as fast as he should have. Probably faster than he would have done if the AI did it, but not as fast as he should have. Purple, personal best middle sector as well. How close is Alonso behind? Ah, that close. Not helpful. I hope he doesn't really try to overtake. There goes the old chicane. Bye to that. But crosses the line with hot tyres, but when you're sort of going aggressive, it doesn't really matter too much. Hey, he gets Albon. Hulkenberg finished 5th. So he would have been P9 even if he hadn't done that run because of Albon's penalty. But at least it makes Albon start even further back. In fact, it makes Albon start guaranteed behind Nick de Vries. Good news. Right, so there are 2 stops here, but we don't have great tyres, and that does not appear to be optimized. Probably that would still be faster. I imagine if I push that one back a couple of laps, it might be faster. Yeah. Soft medium is viable. Still feel like I need to pull that back 1 lap. In fact, it's 1 second faster, but I think medium because he's further back. And then we'll actually start Yuki on the soft strategy because he's got not great softs to begin with. He hasn't got a perfect set of softs at all. It's going to be a fun race. I think that's what we're going to do. And we'll also underfuel by, I think maybe 1 lap here because 1.6 is quite a lot to get back. I mean, if there's an incident, then, because I feel like 3.2 is a lot. So we'll underfuel by 1 lap here, just off the bat. Obviously push him off the line. I bet he did that with the best parts as well. Like, they weren't even the most optimum engine parts. I'm not sure how much percentage-wise actually factors into their overall output, but yeah, they're both 90%. That's fine. Cool. It crashed again. I'm going to have to work out those strategies again. Thank God for autosave. That is looking back at the strategy, the soft medium is 12 seconds faster than the suggested because of that situation. Yeah, 8th and 10th. Need to push these on. Wait, he starts 10th. Nico Hulkenberg's penalty is more than 3 places.
Yuki Tsunoda will be hoping things go his way today.
This marks their 50th start in Formula 1. Can they celebrate that milestone with a strong finish?
Hey, that's a cute little line. That's new. Yuki Tsunoda's 50th race.
This is it. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go. I
remember in years gone by, and by that I mean last year, that Spain was always a very good race to start off the line from for your drivers typically. And right now, Yuki Tsunoda is 6th in his 50th race start. But of course, that can't go always to plan, and De Vries apparently has crashed and caused the crash. He's not out, but we'll have a look at this. De Vries on the inside.
Jostling for position. Has to be set.
I think, ironically, that's pretty much exactly what Yuki Tsunoda got penalised for in real life. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. We weren't counting on De Vries anyway. Yuki Tsunoda, meanwhile, 6th. He's ahead of Hamilton. I love that bit of audio. Now, he's overtaken two people on mediums, in fairness, but that is... Sorry, where has this come from? I'm coming back in there as my voice reaches an octave I didn't realise it could reach. I genuinely don't know where this has come from. I know I cheesed qualifying a little bit more, or shall I say, optimised it within the acceptable levels of cheesiness, I think, really. I think he's going to struggle to hold on to 6th, don't get me wrong, but the first lap of Spain in F1 22 was always a strong one for your drivers, pretty much every year. But it's nice to feel competitive on a lap 1. Unfortunately, I can only really do one lap of deploy, and then after that, it's up to their own. De Vries on a medium, though. Who's he chasing? Norris on a medium as well. Obviously, can't really push the fuel too hard, but I'm going to bring the fuel down to 2 kilograms and then leave it at that for the remainder of the race, and hope for the best, as Hamilton does get Tsunoda back. Unsurprisingly, DRS activates from next lap onwards. We'll watch this again.
Right, we're at turn 9. That's the location for this one. They decide to give it a go.
I mean, it's a good move from Hamilton, really, to do it there. Quite frankly, anything more than 2 points would get us 7th at this stage. So 8th would be absolutely acceptable. 9th would be acceptable because I think all the 2 pointers have come from 2 times 1 point. So count back would still be Tsunoda in 9th in that situation. Unfortunately, they have decided to just drive away now, doing a 118.6 there, Hamilton, when Tsunoda did a 120. Partially because he got shoved off, of course, in that process. But that's 2 kilograms. But the hope here is essentially that once Stroll gets through as a faster vehicle, Aston Martin, like those top 4 teams, as De Vries is going backwards. Oh, because his confidence is going to be in the toilet, isn't it? So Stroll gets past Tsunoda in DRS, not unexpected. Now the hope here is Tsunoda can stay in DRS by the time we get to the back DRS straight, so then he stays in DRS for the main straight again. So not unhappy with that. That's Tsunoda back to 8th, but I am going to deploy him. I don't think I want to aggressive his tyres, though. I am going to deploy him to make sure that he stays in that DRS of Stroll. Actually, I don't think he's actually going to struggle with that. I don't think I needed to do that, quite frankly. He's done that quite remarkably well. I need De Vries to get a few... Never mind. I was going to say, I need De Vries to get a few successful defends in there. There's been an incident, but I don't know who for. Tsunoda gets Stroll through... I didn't come back after that previous highlight, but is it Stroll that's at the moment? Oh, God, it is. Flipping heck. Good job the camera wasn't on that moment because I genuinely jumped. Yeah, De Vries's confidence is in the absolute toilet right now because of that one thing that he did early on. So he's just going backwards now. The confidence situation is kind of problematic because right now he's working at -6 and everything. So he might as well be an F3 driver at this point. Stroll actually came back behind Magnussen, so Tsunoda's back up to 7th, 3 seconds behind Hamilton. Fair enough. Hamilton's driving away. He's much faster. Unexpected. So might stick him on always defend now because it's Magnussen behind, and I think we can defend from Magnussen. De Vries is now last. It's been another incident. It says multiple cars crashed. Are you all right? That implies he's involved again.
For Tauri involved here. Tries to get by, and the impact on the car.
I mean, that's on Zhou Guan Yu. Tell me Zhou Guan Yu got penalised for that one. I'm sorry, Zhou Guan Yu is off the track doing an overtake. That's not him being squeezed. He was already ahead when he decided to go off the track. Well, the good news is his confidence couldn't go any lower to begin with, so at least he's in DRS, so he'll hold on. I think just by virtue of being in DRS and having a better vehicle, but I'm not going to always defend the Aston Martin. If the Aston Martin wants to have a go, then it can have a go, but I think we can take the Haas going forward. I'm not going to make him go aggressive on it, but I think the Haas is actually a really nice sandwich to be in right now because obviously the Aston Martin is significantly faster, but the Haas is only moderately faster, as I forget to come back again. But so as a place to be, to stay ahead of Stroll, this is the perfect vehicle really to be towing me along because the Haas is only moderately slower than the Aston Martin, but it is moderately... Oh, never mind. Yuki Tsunoda has immediately disproved me on that front and Magnussen has just disappeared. So, never mind. Good defend, though. He's going to pick relatively early, isn't he? Lap 17. I suspect that's going to be way earlier than anyone else, but who else is on softs? Piastri and Bottas are on terribly used softs already, and Verstappen is too. Alonso's got 67% softs somehow. But here comes Stroll again. Might have a little bit more speed this time round. No. Weirdly, he couldn't hold up Magnussen, but he can hold up Stroll. Max on softs? Magnussen was not on softs. How bizarre. Seems to ironically be doing better on regular defend than always defend. I wonder if that's a problem. It's got a lovely train behind him, though. I've just seen how many cars are in it. It's going back to Russell, I think. It is, yeah. Norris is nearly in it as well. De Vries is trying and failing to get past Zhou Guan Yu. Is Zhou on mediums as well? No, Zhou's on softs, so he has the better tyre compound, but not necessarily the... Sorry, did Tsunoda just have a go? Oh, no, it was Stroll trying to get through Tsunoda. And succeeding. That's a shame. We're not going to watch that one. Albon's having a go at Tsunoda there, but he's actually done it, which is dumb, but Tsunoda's going to have the inside corner for these three. Both of us are going to have DRS on Stroll. I'm a little bit annoyed that Albon's got through, and we can't make any progress whatsoever. He's on 51% tyres, is our Yuki. Maybe Albon's just gone for his kind of push laps here. I mean, overtake failed. You're basically there, Nick. Stay behind for the DRS section and get him in the DRS. Excellent work, Nick. So he's got to serve 10 seconds in the pit stops. I'm pretty certain any strategy is irrelevant with Nick de Vries right now. Unless there's a safety car, it's basically irrelevant. I mean, superb work, Nick. You've managed to not catch up with Zhou Guanyu whilst pushing. So de Vries is getting sacked, as Ocon now gets Tsunoda. Maybe. No, he hasn't got him. Tsunoda's tyres have gone, so it's kind of a case of just holding on as best as he can. Now, obviously all these vehicles are quite close together, so when we pit, presumably before all of them, we'll get an undercut. But that's essentially what we're relying on this point, as Hulkenberg also gets through now. Can we show something that resembles fight, Yuki? I think the problem now is his confidence is just going to be dropping and dropping and dropping. Wonder if he can do a faster first sector just by pushing the tyres a little bit. Getting those tyre temps up again. De Vries has finally got Zhou Guanyu. Meanwhile, I'm not even going to reward him by watching his replay. Aggressive just to keep those temperatures up and to stay in Hulkenberg's DRS ideally. So the pit window is now open. He's got to survive 3 laps on these tyres effectively. I mean, everyone had DRS there, so it's not going to help in the long run. But he's just trying to stave off these overtakes as long as possible. I feel like we can sneak in, and if one of that top block crash, because... I mean, the crashes that happened in practice were Ocon, Alonso is one of them. I think Albon was one of them as well. So they're all people in the top 10 currently. So it's not unheard of to see them crash. Now, I'm actually kind of happy to let Gasly go on that one, because I think we could probably hang in his DRS probably if we don't mess it up. Yuki, don't mess it up, Yuki. Never mind. We obviously got much less pace than them at this point in time, and De Vries has been re-overtaken. Well, that lasted long. I mean, it's gone up a little bit. Yuki's going to be about to head into low confidence, unfortunately, thanks to that overtake. Verstappen's pitted now. Now, realistically, we could probably go next lap. I don't know if that's the optimal lap anyway, but I think I'm going to pit him next lap anyway, because Verstappen's gone now. He's not in our fight, but I kind of think realistically we've lost all toe. So De Vries is swapping with... Is that getting his confidence up more? I think the overtakes are getting his confidence more than the undertake. So bring Tsunoda in this lap, because he's massively fallen off the back of that. Although Norris hasn't really gained. Bottas and Piastri pitted the same lap as well, so that's good, because they're on the same strategy, I think. 2.5 pit stop, not terrible. Not great, but not terrible. All right, so get them up to temperature. A nice place to come back out again as well. 5 seconds behind the Zhou and De Vries fight. I mean, they probably will catch him, annoyingly, because I don't think he pits for a while. I mean, it's immediately 4 seconds. All right, so they are now up to temperature? Nearly. There we are. 1 lap, up to temperature. Zhou Guanyu now pits. Even better. I get the feeling that De Vries... Yeah, he'll catch De Vries before his pit stop. Zhou had a pit stop issue. Even better news. Verstappen's done the fastest lap, so that makes me feel good about Yuki Tsunoda pitting when he did. Because he pitted the same lap as Yuki, essentially. Oh no, he pitted 1 lap earlier than Yuki, so that makes me think these tyres are that much better. In fact, he's immediately within 2 seconds. He's gone 2 seconds faster than De Vries, I think. Almost. Is he going faster than Magnussen? No. Oh, there goes Yuki being let by De Vries. That'll actually give De Vries DRS for this straight. Even better. A little bit of teamwork there. I want to know what everyone's lap times. So Magnussen is still doing 1:17.7s. Oh, Tsunoda's done 1:19.3 there, so he is going faster than Magnussen, but not by much. And I don't know what their strategy is here. Alonso pits on lap 21. De Vries is getting close to his pit stop. There's been a yellow flag. But for whom, Chris? Piastri locks up. Oh well. Not important to our race. Even De Vries is ahead of him. He's 10 seconds ahead of him, actually. So, strictly speaking, he's in direct fight with him because of the 10-second penalty he's got. So De Vries can just attack these tyres for 3 laps and destroy them. I might even bring him in a lap early. Try and get an undercut. Hang on, Piastri's done soft. They've gone on to hards. The hards aren't even a one-stop here. Verstappen went on hards, actually, I now realise. So they might be doing soft, whereas we're doing medium. Tsunoda 5 seconds behind Sargent. Lapping about a second faster at this point. So pushing these mediums to their pit stop got him a few faster sectors and got his confidence back up. I imagine Yuki's is back up as well because he's done faster laps since pitting. I might even make him go aggressive on a lap just to get him a few faster sectors again. I don't think 110 is the hot temperature for them. So try and get him a few more faster sectors just to get his confidence back up a bit. As this lot is starting to pit as well, actually, looking at it, I now realise. So he kind of got left behind by Magnussen a little bit as we now are on the optimum lap for Nick de Vries. 1 more lap, just absolutely shredding them. Magnussen got held up on Norris As Albon, Hulkenberg and Stroll all pit now. This is kind of the crucial one for Yuki. Has he managed to get any of them through the pit stop? I think Albon might have had a pit stop issue. Well, he's back in that train, which is progress. He's back out ahead of Albon, so he got one of them. Nick de Vries in, serving a 10-second penalty. Anyone got a cup of tea? Was there an error? It was 2.6 on top of that, so not awful. 20th, it's still the 12th fastest pit stop because there's only been 12 pit stops. But Albon on the back of Yuki now. They've pitted so much later. So they've done medium. So I think Albon's doing the same strategy as Albon just shoves Yuki Tsunoda out of the way. Hulkenberg's gone to hards. So Hulkenberg might be one-stopping medium hard. Stroll's definitely doing 2 stops, medium soft, as Ocon's now in the pit. So we'll see if we can catch him through the pit stops now. Norris hasn't pitted at all yet, and hopefully held up Magnussen a little bit. Actually, yeah, he's only just got through him, I think. Yuki, can't you keep hold of Albon, mate? He's in the fastest first sector he's ever done, so... I mean, he's going to take a hit from being overtaken, but... No, he's not catching up. Ocon came out 11th. I think Ocon was way up the road. It was Gasly that was in our train with Russell, wasn't it? Oh, God, De Vries is still attacking. Okay, so Tsunoda's lost the trade entirely now. I had to do a tiny bit of ERS harvest, so he's completely lost it now, unfortunately. What is the gap to leader for Russell? That answers that question. As there is an incident. It is a Haas-off track. Which one was it? Hulkenberg, I assume. No, Magnussen, actually. Oh. Is that helpful? I mean, he's stopped already, but he's gone on to soft, so he's obviously had that tyre advantage now. Gasly's gone to 23% mediums. I mean, if you could get re-held up by Gasly for a few laps, that'd be sensational work for us. Oh, he's come in now. Thanks, Pierre. So he's definitely one-stopping. I think, annoyingly, Gasly's still going to come out ahead of Tsunoda on a one-stop. Oh, no, hang on. No, he has come out way behind, actually. He's going to be fighting Russell on exit. I was about to say, the Alpines are utterly cracked for some reason, but he's come out with Russell, and they're going to be fighting, hopefully, so they won't catch up too quickly. Fingers crossed. I suspect they will. It's another set of mediums after this, isn't it, for Yuki? Yeah. Remarkably, despite a 10-second penalty, De Vries is only 1.5 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu. He's actually doing all right here. Oh, Zhou's gone on hards, that's why. One-stopping? That feels weird, considering De Vries is on 77% mediums. So it can't be a one-stop. Gasly's definitely one-stopping, I'd have thought. But Gasly on hards could be interesting, because I want to see if he's actually faster than Tsunoda on mediums. Used mediums. This has now become an interesting race. I would still like a retirement from that top 10, please, just to give us an illusion of getting points. As Russell catches and passes Tsunoda, who thankfully had built up enough confidence to not be affected by that overtake. And that answers the question of whether Gasly was going to be fast enough on hards. Yes, the Alpine is indeed that cracked. I would hope that Alpine on hards would be enough for him to keep up. Also, I'm slightly concerned we're not going to get this fuel back if nothing happens. We're pretty much exactly halfway and we're exactly 1 kilogram back, so we might be all right. He's just lost that Alpine on hards, which is maddening. Magnussen's pitted earlier than anticipated, and we can't get out of mediums. So Magnussen out on hards early. Stroll's taking those soft tyres down quite low. Can't push these hards just yet. Mediums just yet. There's a crash. It's Verstappen and Perez. That feels like it could be a... No, they both got going again. I mean, we're going to watch it because it's infighting and might have actually damaged both their tyres. But, you know, they're not in our race. Wow, he just turns into it. Not helpful. Retire them from the race, damn it. I mean, a safety car then would have been sensational for Yuki Tsunoda. Not quite so much for Nick de Vries, who would have had to go into a hard set. But Max has actually overtaken Tsunoda. I didn't even notice that. Stroll comes in now. Is it one more lap? No, next lap is optimum, and actually kind of the only viable lap. No mediums. I need to put him on softs there. So slam whatever's left of these tyres, Yuki. De Vries, meanwhile, several more laps. He's fine, kind of. Kind of feel like you might need to top up a little bit, my friend. It's not like you're catching anyone. You're 20 seconds behind the nearest person. Just to give you a little bit in the tank when you cross the line, which you don't seem to have normally. No, so Tsunoda out. Tyres up to temperature. Right, so now comes any undercut, hopefully on the cars ahead that are yet to pit a second time. And hopefully you can catch those people who have one-stopped. Because he's come out in 17th, which is very low indeed. One stop was just 100% not viable for the compounds that we had available to us. De Vries has got Piastri, who I didn't realise was ahead of him. I think Piastri's caught De Vries. He's also pitted twice, and he's on 46% mediums. He is terrible at tyre conservation. Norris has definitely got to pit again. Sargent and Bottas definitely have to pit again. Gasly definitely, probably has to pit again. Maybe, actually, you might be right. Russell definitely needs to pit again. Hamilton definitely needs to pit again, but they're not in our fight. Ocon and Hulkenberg probably need to pit again. There's a whole host of people that probably need to pit again, but I can't see how close they are to Tsunoda. I don't think they're that close looking at the map. Albon is there and is a lap down, and Tsunoda's here and a lap down, so I think Albon's basically outside a pit stop. Hulkenberg's definitely outside. Hulkenberg's got a pit stop on Magnussen, who isn't even lapped at this point, so Yuki's got to gain time. There goes Bottas, that's one place back. So there's Sargent in, that's one place back. Onto softs for De Vries, who can now slam these mediums for a lap. We'll be okay on fuel because conservation can get us like 0.3 in a lap. So even if we get close to the end and we're still under, I'm surprised there's not been an incident that's involved like a crash. All right, here comes Hulkenberg into the pits. Tsunoda is on the other side of the bloody track. Nowhere near. Where's Albon? Still 13th. I don't think Albon's pitted yet. He has pitted for a second time. He's pitted onto hards. Gasly and Stroll could be interesting. Even Magnussen could be interesting with 15 laps to go. Oops, he may not be reaching the end of that race now. VSC. Now there's a VSC. Oh, actually, who is that? That's the two Alpines. That one's definitely out. He's come from so far back, soft onto hards. Ocon's definitely out. Gasly might well... I think Gasly might be out because he's just not moving. Normally the car gets moving in the highlight if they're still in. So Alpines have been accurately... Russell's in the pits as that happens, so he's going to come out in 11th. We need another crash from top 10 drivers. Ideally, if Albon could crash, that'd be great. How far ahead of Norris is Tsunoda? 7 seconds. Not enough. If it had been a safety car, I might have gone on to softs there, but because he's got another set of 90% softs. This will get the fuel back. Severely back. Wow, we could have actually gone 2 laps under in the end, but aggressive to get the tyre temps back up a bit. They've not gone cold, thankfully, but 10 laps to go. I think De Vries has just been lapped by someone. I think De Vries has just been lapped by Albon, which is depressing. Oh, De Vries can actually like really push his fuel because he's a lap down and about to be 2 laps down. De Vries can just push his fuel to the rest of the race. I didn't need to be conservationist with him. Tsunoda's a lap down too at this point. Russell's a brand new softs, so the question is Magnussen can definitely hold on for the rest of the race. It's just if he's faster or not. We're not gaining 40 seconds. I don't know how we've lost so much time. De Vries is actually fighting Albon, but presumably going to have to let him go immediately. Is that actually working? Like under just holding up the Red Bull for zero reason whatsoever? De Vries isn't yielding to the Red Bull. We're making the fight at the front interesting all of a sudden. He absolutely just didn't get out of the way there at all. Russell's just buggered off on his softs. Ideally, when Russell catches Albon, if they could come together, that would be superb. Because it takes the Williams that's getting a point out of the race as well. But I think as it stands, that's not happening. I mean, he's still on track, he's fine. The best news is I don't think he's actually damaged the car in either of those contacts. Come on, George. Mess it up, please. Yeah, we don't need to worry about fuel because he's lapped. Well, to be fair, I'm a little bit conscious of that, but I might just make sure with Yuki, and I'll just risk De Vries, just to make sure that's not a bugged system in the game, that if it just says negative at the end of the race, you're out, regardless of the fact there is still actually fuel in the tank. Wait, am I going crazy, or did Albon just vanish? Albon went off the track, but Russell's in 10th, so that didn't make a difference. So they did have a moment, but it was Albon that just straight up locked up. Damn. It's kind of depressing we've still finished 12th in the end. Yuki's confidence is back up to good. Yeah, so I'm going to test it with De Vries just to make sure. I'm going to make sure Yuki's on a positive kilogram, even though he is lapped, just to be certain. I think it's probably fine. You know, we can risk it with De Vries because he's 16th anyway. I mean, for a race that we thought was going to be pain, the fact we still finished 12th isn't terrible. Admittedly, with 2 drivers out, that will be faster than us. It's still our sort of status quo 14th, looking at the Williams for some reason. If Stroll could crash into Hulkenberg, that would be great. Yuki's 20 seconds behind Albon. I'm not going to push anything on him. Like, if Albon wants to crash on the final lap along with Russell, just for, you know, old time's sake. Sainz and Alonso pretty close together. If they want to have contact, that'd be superb. Just knock themselves out. Nope. Clean overtake. That's a shame for us. Actually, wouldn't have made a difference because we were a lap down on them. Magnussen and Russell were the only 2 that could crash and actually still not be ahead of us. I'm not sure how that works if they classify still ahead of someone. De Vries still counted, even though he was on negative fuel at the end.
Long race.
Cool. Right. Good to know. Nick De Vries still qualified. Nick De Vries still classifies with negative fuel just because there was still some fuel in the tank. That's kind of depressing, isn't it? Nico Hulkenberg went up 8 places. I'll move out of the way so you can see the plus minuses. But yeah, Hulkenberg with his penalty started 15th and it still ended up 7th. He was absolutely unbelievable this track for some reason. Imagine where he would have been if he hadn't had the penalty. Good lord. Yeah. That's the final straw for Nick De Vries. I mean, Yuki still finished up 12th, but that's kind of the compounding negative confidence problem, really, for him. Same, really, with Nick De Vries, because he had that one error and it broke his confidence entirely. But as soon as you get one overtake done, then the confidence thing goes down and down and down and down. So, yeah, I don't know why that kind of just ended up so poor in the end. Maybe a one-stop would have been better. In fact, everyone ended up two-stopping in the end. I don't know if Pierre Gasly was going for the one-stop, but the other person who looked like he was going for a one-stop still ended up two-stopping. So I can't remember who that was now. Max Verstappen finally takes Sergio Perez in the championship. Yuki Tsunoda takes Logan Sargent on comeback. We're ahead of someone. Unfortunately, Valtteri Bottas still had a 12th or maybe 11th at some point. He has a fastest lap, which doesn't count, but Lewis Hamilton's only fastest lap came when he was outside the points, so it doesn't actually count to his points tally. Constructors' Rise, of course, also doesn't get us ahead of Alfa Romeo. We need to break whatever that comeback is or get points. We don't make DSL Thatcher's pit stop either. Still the singular point there. 2.48. We got into the 2.4s for what feels like the first time. Also got a reasonable amount of sponsorship money as well. That seems to have gone up. Oh, good. The game is literally broken. He's happy with everything. That's neutral. By the way, I've tried this with bonus threshold 19th. And it still says I'd like it to be lower. It literally cannot go lower. There's no option to put him 20th. Essentially, if he finishes the race, he gets 20 grand. There's no option for 20th. 19th is still neutral. 11th to 19th is all neutral. 10th and above was just none. But this is literally broken. I cannot sign Alexander Albon for whatever reason. I'm trying to, but I can't. More money did the trick. I'm not going to pretend I didn't reset there. But it's so weird that that was broken. Also, I can get him on 3 seasons, which is what I wanted. It's way too much money. But Daniel Ricciardo, by the way, I've accidentally given him 10 grand more than I intended to. That's going to bug me. The fact he's on 1.1 million and 833 quid a month. But Daniel Ricciardo wants about the same thing, about 13 million. That's kind of already known because other people have done it. But the problem is Daniel Ricciardo regresses as the driver. Alexander Albon is going to improve as a driver for the next few seasons at least. Welcome back, Alex, to the Red Bull family. This was the one I was kind of okay with because even if Nick de Vries does end up on the Williams team, then there's that kind of giving him back to where he belongs, essentially, as a kind of junior Mercedes team, kind of. And importantly, he already has good affinity with Hamalan. Iwasa Vestri, Boschung, Saucy, Gotha, Mini. There, out of curiosity, and Porsche is doing better than I thought. Iwasa's just won that one. I thought Iwasa might have been leading because I feel like he's been in the top 3 quite a lot. But that's the first time, actually. Maybe he was on the stream save. Just as a junior Red Bull, I was thinking, maybe. Same with Fittipaldi, he's junior Red Bull, as is Hadjar, I think. So, good for them. We go into Canada with a new driver. I pulled the trigger 1 race earlier than I did last year, although is it technically 1 race earlier? Yes, because we've not had either of the new tracks yet. So yes, I have indeed pulled the trigger 1 round earlier. Last time I left Lance Stroll in Canada. Now this time I've left Nick de Vries in Spain, which, not the worst place to leave him. If you enjoyed this episode, do like, comment, subscribe. You know it all helps, and let me know what you think about this change around. Until next time, thank you for watching. Ta-ra.